Calem, how is your
Hi.
day going aside from having to answer the same questions over and over and over and over again?
No, it's good. You're early. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Beautiful day. Sun's shining finally for the first time in like a month in Nova Scotia. So it's good.
Well, Nova Scotia was the first thing I wanted to ask about because I interviewed the director of the film yesterday, Jason, and going through his credits, I see Trailer Park Boys, and that is also on your IMDb as well. So is that just a coincidence that both of you have that credit?
Yeah. It's a small, Nova Scotia is small, so a lot of people work on the same things. But yeah, that was like one of my first credits here in the industry. It was shot just an hour away in Truro, Nova Scotia,
Mhm.
and yeah, that was a yeah. It's so small, Nova Scotia. Everybody, a lot of people that worked on Kids vs. Aliens, for example, worked on Trailer Park Boys or Hobo with a Shotgun or any other movies. We got about 2 or 3 crews worth of people, and they all generally work on the same things that come through Nova Scotia.
I think that's a good sign because when I was a kid back in the olden days, back in the Stone Age, you had to like be in New York or Los Angeles to work full time in film. But now we're seeing different cities are not necessarily hotspots, but you don't have to live in those two major metros to work as an actor. When did you start to realize that? Because when I think about, the Umbrella Academy and all these great things you've been part of, I don't think any of them filmed in New York or LA.
No, I kind of realized my family's, a part of the film industry. So my dad's a camera operator. Both of my parents, my mom and my dad, own a motion picture vehicle support company. So they rent out the trucks and trailers. So I've known that, Halifax, that Nova Scotia has an industry, and I've known that since I was a kid. But growing up and starting to work and wanting to keep working, I was trying to figure out if it was possible to, have a career and still live at home in Halifax in Nova Scotia.
Mhm.
And kind of with COVID, it started to kind of shift a little bit where there was more self-tape auditions. So you could tape from wherever you're located and just send the audition and they'll fly you out, rather than being in the room and having to, audition in Toronto or LA or New York, for example. So I've kind of known that it's a possible career.
Yeah.
It's just kind of figuring out how to do it, and if I'm in the right place at the right time.
Right place at the right time. Well,
Yeah.
one more Jason question, and then we'll make it about you here. Did you know about his work from Dark Side of the Ring before winding up in this role?
No, I did hear about Dark Side of the Ring, and obviously, again, going back to the small town Nova Scotia film industry, everyone's known about Hobo with a Shotgun. It was one of the craziest movies that ever filmed here. So I did know about that, but I wasn't too familiar with him. So when, getting the audition and looking him up and, diving into his work, it was a pleasant surprise. And I was kind of shocked how I wasn't more aware of his stuff to begin with. But he's a Nova Scotia treasure, and
Yeah.
he's a great guy to work with. Great friend, and I hope he just keeps making. I know a lot of his fans want him to keep making things, and I hope he keeps making stuff because he really deserves it. He's a great person.
Kind words to the director. That doesn't always happen after finishing a project, to say the least. So I'm glad to hear that. Now, over to you here. When did you finish work on Kids vs. Aliens?
So we shot that from, I think it was like mid-November until early December 2021. And then we did, a little bit of ADR stuff, just like dialogue stuff. Way after that, I think it was this summer, but I guess technically we stopped shooting in December 2021.
So is a traditional audition process for you?
Yeah, for me it was, get the audition for my agent, for my manager, Google everybody who works on the show or who's credited so far, and just do my research, and yeah, just did the audition and was lucky enough to get the part.
Any idea if any of your credits from the past are what led to this role? Because sometimes somebody sees you in one role and goes, that's the depth I need for this.
I don't know, because a lot of the characters that I've recently been playing have been a complete 180 from Billy. So I'm not sure if it was something that somebody saw, one of the producers or casting director or Jason or whoever saw something, or if it was just, they liked what they saw on the little self tape. But there's some people that I saw on the casting breakdown of people that I've worked with, people that I'm friends with. So, you never know how little things like that, affect the grand scheme of things. But I know it comes down to a lot of, if they like what they see, they could have hired I think they looked, I'm not sure if they looked, I think they looked Canada wide for all of the roles, but they picked I know they picked who they wanted to for a lot of the other roles, for Gary, for Samantha and the kids and everybody. So I don't think it necessarily played into who is where, but just who they kind of wanted for the role. And I was, again, lucky enough to book it. So that's great.
So as you mentioned, different from a lot of the other characters you played, was a lot of prep needed for the role? I ask that because some actors are super, super method. If they're playing a pharmacist, they try and shout out the pharmacy. And other people go, no, the script is going to change 25 times. Let's just learn the lines for the day and we'll take it from there.
Right. Well, I couldn't go, I don't think I could have went method on this character because everyone on the crew I'm like friends with. So I don't think I would be friends with them anymore if I was like Billy in real life. I definitely wouldn't be working with Jason anymore.
Right.
But yeah, I just do basic prep, just, learn the character, learn my lines, maybe create a little bit of a backstory. And just, it was lucky we got to, do a little bit of prep, just kind of bonding. Jason took us to an arcade in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. It was just the kids and some of the teenagers, and we all just kind of went and played games for, a couple hours, just kids being kids.
Do you have a go-to?
What's that? Sorry?
Important question. Do you have a go-to arcade game when you're in a scenario like that?
I just went back to the arcade for that exact arcade for the first time, like last week with my girlfriend, and we both really liked the Mario Kart game that they had there. So that was pretty fun. I don't know if I'd have to go more to figure out my go-to ones. But I like the pinball, the driving games, claw machines, even though they're a complete scam. I like claw machine.
Like the claw machine that Jason has behind him when he does the interviews. Do you know about that?
Yeah, I saw that this morning, actually. That is sick. He got like the coolest stuff. If you ever follow him on Instagram, he's always just has the coolest stuff that he posts on his stories.
He gets to be a kid for a living. That's what we're kind of learning about Jason. Whatever he liked when he was 8, he still gets to work around. So kind of an inspirational tale right there.
Yeah, and and that he had such a great time making the movie because it was like he was a kid again.
Yeah.
Living through these kids, and he would kind of act out scenes. He doesn't act very much, but he could be a great actor because he would tell, we'd be blocking the scene, and Gary or Dominic or Asher or Ben, he'd tell them to do something and act the whole thing out and get on the ground and roll around, and he'd just do, it was a month of just play for him, and it was an amazing work environment.
Cool. Well, down to the last 2 questions for you personally. Question 1, are you allowed to say what's next? And I say that because you filmed this movie, almost 2 years ago, but it's new to us. Mm-hmm. But we know that things are not released in order of production, to say the least. Are you? And then at the same time, there's embargoes of, oh, well, Deadline.com didn't say it yet, so we can't say it. Are you allowed to say what's next?
Well, there's a TV show that I've been working on for the last 3 years called Moonshine, which is a Canadian show. So it's only premiering in Canada right now on the CBC and Netflix. Hopefully we get to go to the US soon, or international. So yeah, fingers crossed, please and thank you. But yeah, the season 2 just came out this fall, and season 3 will be coming out hopefully next fall. And yeah, that's kind of what I have. And I shot another just a little bit of recurring in a TV show over the summer as well, which is yet to be announced, but that'll be coming hopefully early 2023. Just a few episodes in another show that filmed in Nova Scotia.
Glad to hear you're working steadily. And the last question has nothing to do with your successful acting career. It's a matter of personal taste here. What's the last concert that you went to for fun?
I went to we've been trying to go, me and my girlfriend, she's a diehard Harry Styles fan. And we've been trying to go since like, when was it? 2020, right when the pandemic happened. We bought tickets in Montreal. They're really cheap before all the hype over Ticketmaster and everything. And we were going to go, and they canceled the show, and then it got rescheduled to October 2021. That got canceled. And then we finally got to go in Chicago last October, a few months ago in October. So the last concert I went to was Harry Styles, and that was actually an amazing time. Really good performer. It was super fun.
Did he do his cover of Sledgehammer by Peter Gabriel?
No, I don't think so.
Fantastic thing to look up online.
I will. I'll check it out.
It was on the Howard Stern show. But either way, I'm looking forward to those next projects for you, that they get the pickups here in the States. But the bottom line is, thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you, Darren. I appreciate it.
Paltrocast.